What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. The verdict is in. We do know what is wrong with him from what the doctors reported, and he does have a small cut in his left ear, which supposedly knocked his equilibrium off. I believe that's exactly what happened. That explains the bleeding. That explains how he was all over the place, along with getting the shit knocked out of him. So Deontay Wilder, of course, he wanted to go out on his shield, so to speak, and wanted, I guess, finish on his back. He, of course, we know he's disappointed in Mark Breeland, and I will cover that later because we don't know what the verdict is yet. So I will give you guys an update on that. But I do want to leave you guys with something. Deontay Wilder wanted to end. He didn't want the fight to end the way it ended, and he wanted to end up on his back. Then why did he go to the hospital directly after that instead of going to the post press conference where he should have faced the music, went there, expressed himself, explained himself like a man, and did what champion's supposed to do? Okay. And this is one of the things that, again, when other fighters, I'm not saying any names, when they lost, if they are a real fighter, if they have integrity, if they have character, they will at least finish what they started. If they've been defeated, they will show up, be present at the post conference. I understand that stitches are is a time sensitive type thing, but I feel that if he wanted to go out on his shield, he had time to go to a press conference and make a good account of himself and ensure his fans that, hey, he's going to be back. The rematch is going to be in effect, but instead his trainer and his manager, or his co-manager / head trainer and manager, Shelly Finkel and JD's, those guys, they spoke on his behalf. I just thought that was rather absent in his defense because he wasn't there to defend himself or talk for what he wanted. Now, he did have a small interview after the fight. And of course, any fighter, he looked down, but he didn't sound too salty about it. I just didn't like the excuses. See, when you start making excuses, that gives you a way out. Instead of you just got beat by the better man beat you. He hit you with the harder shots. You didn't expect that. It's time to eat all the things that you've said. And then it's like, to me, it seems like he simply got out of that situation. Like, no, I don't want to show up for my press conference, my post press conference, because I have to go to the hospital. It's supposed to be people on deck to do that. Honestly, if you have any kind of stitching, that should be available at the press conference. The doctor's supposed to be on deck, because I remember and he cut his eye real bad from a Canelo uppercut. He was right there. So it's been examples of fighters getting stitches. I know that was in your ear, so it's probably a different procedure, to be fair. But I just feel that Deontay Wilder should have been there for the post-press conference. It almost like he punked out on the media, the people that looked up to him. Maybe he felt embarrassed and whatnot. Embarrassed or not, you have to face the music. So if other fighters, can do that, if they can say, hey, I have no excuses, I lost, the better man won, I want an immediate rematch, there's no soft touches. If he came in like a man like that, I could give him respect, because again, Deontay Wilder has never been here. And we learned a lot about Wilder, that these type of things, that because they had so many people that were telling him yes this, yes that, were allowing him to do whatever he wanted to do in training, not really preparing him for the worst particular situation or the worst type scenario. This is why he handled it the way he handled it, because they never told him what's like, hey, Deontay Wilder, you could lose one day due to your lack of skill. You started late. When you start late, you know less things. You don't have as much experience. See, those type of things like that should be expressed like a man-to-man type of situation. But when I found out that these guys are what Deontay Wilder told me, that I got away with a lot, that means they weren't teaching him a lot. And if they were teaching him a lot, he wasn't listening. And they let him do what they want to do, and in return took his money. Okay, and I think any scenario is bad, because if you're a trainer and you have any type of integrity, you wouldn't feel comfortable training a guy that doesn't listen. Okay, Mark Breeland said that anyway. He already said Deontay Wilder doesn't listen to me, and that's why he was not there also. So that's another factor that I want to mention. He was not there at that post conference. Mark Breeland was absent. JD was there again. Shelly Finkel was there, along with Tyson Fury and Javon Sugar Hill on the other side. And I think Bob Arum was on the other side of him or whatnot. But as far as the trainer, Mark Breeland, he was not there. And my question is why? So that's another indication that there's about to be some drama in that camp and some decisions going to be made, and somebody has to blame. But anyway, back to Deontay Wilder's injuries. That was actually a UFC style type injury. He sustained, because a lot of times, because I thought he had a cauliflower ear. I thought his ear had swole, because a lot of times you get caught in headlocks or, a type of grappling move in UFC, and your ears will take damage, and you can see the cauliflower like effect take place. But this was actually inside his ear. So Fury hit him at one of the best places I guess you can hit Deontay Wilder. Then from now on he's always going to be worried about that particular punch. It's a mental thing. Again, Deontay Wilder did fight with what he could do, but you could see there was no preparation of any type of urgency to throw combinations, because I don't think they landed. I don't think they focused on mid-range punching. I know that's not Wilder's thing anyway, but then who's to say that they trained him anyway? Because a lot of things you train, that's how you're going to fight. So if you haven't been trained well, you're not going to fight well under certain circumstances. And so the stitches, this minor, I'm glad he's okay, because you want him to fight another day. Any fighter, any fighter, either you're a fan of that fighter or not, they should be given the full opportunity to redeem themselves, to make amends. And I think Deontay Wilder owes it to his fans to talk, especially to like all the channels that rode with him and stuff like that. I think he has a responsibility to respond to those people, to respond to the public, to respond to his fans that, hey, this is what happens, speak his piece and let it be. I didn't like the way he did that. Again, I think it was a cop-out. I think it was the easy way out, and it didn't really show much character, honestly. But anyway, Deontay Wilder has received stitches in his ear. In time, his equilibrium will be back. I know what that's like firsthand, because I had some equilibrium problems when it came from my ears. So it will totally throw you off. And especially coming from, blunt force, from a punch, coming from a 273-pound dude that has every intention of beating your ass and knocking you out. So he was punching with mean intentions anyway. I could see how that punch will make that effect on a guy. As far as his eyes and everything else, he wasn't that bad, but the blood just made it more dramatic. You seen the blood, you're like, okay, it's all over Fury, and Fury's not bleeding at all. And the ironic thing about that, just to share with it for a second, Tyson Fury was the one everybody was worried about being cut because of how bad his cut was before. Remember that? He went through that trial, that tribulation, where the fight could have been stopped. Now I understand why Deontay Wilder talks so much about it should have been stopped. It should have been stopped. Because I think he was trying to look for a way out in that situation, because you got to remember Andy Ruiz was the current unified heavyweight champ at that time. So you got to factor that in. You see what I'm saying? So, of course, he says that and he talks that way out of bitterness because he knew, or he could have had an opportunity to fight Andy Ruiz. But anyway, Deontay Wilder will be fine. The verdict's in, stitches to the ear. Everything else is normal inflammation. So it's a good thing he's okay. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.